Oh my god, he's getting murked. They're getting murked. Gamers, let's talk about a fun build, not Omega end game by any means, but it is fun and it pretty much destroys most to all end game content, even though I have characters that aren't even properly leveled. So what build am I talking about? Well, let me show you. It's a little bit of the Hua Hua. You can go any healer. Hua Hua isn't necessary. I just have her. It doesn't matter what healer you go. Black Swan. This is a Black Swan build, as the title suggests. Gwynaifen, and then drum roll, please. Drrrr. Not him. This guy, Dr. Ratio. And what made me think of this build? Now, the thing that made me think of this build happens to be that Gwynaifen is one of the best characters to pair up with Dr. Ratio, because she applies multiple debuffs to the enemies and gets Dr. Ratio really going with his passive right here. If we go down to traces, I believe it's this one. It can stack up to 6 times if you have 6 debuffs on them. This one also, you can get up to 50% if you have a bunch of debuffs on them. So that's basically, you want a bunch of debuffs on them, and Gwynaifen really excels at doing that. Gwynaifen also pairs beautifully with Black Swan, because Gwynaifen, whenever Gwynaifen pops her ult, if we look at her ult real quick, she gets a bonus damage of 80% if they're hit with a burn effect. And she also applies burn, so that's good. It enhances Black Swan's dot, but Black Swan's ultimate makes her have every sort of debuff on the enemy, including burn. So you pop a Black Swan ult, you get Gwynaifen going on all of them. She gets just a bonus to her ultimate damage. So Gwynaifen really is the centerpiece of this build. She really is the enhancer that enhances both Black Swan and Dr. Ratio. But Dr. Ratio, the cool thing is that Black Swan puts so many debuffs on the enemy. You can run Dr. Ratio with Black Swan, and Black Swan puts enough debuffs on the enemy to count for all of his passives that he needs. So, I mean, you don't even really need Gwynaifen there, but Gwynaifen just is the best comp for enhancing Black Swan. I mean, you could also go, if you have Sampo, which would be better, you could go for, if you have Eidolon 4, which makes it way better for Black Swan, you could go that, and it would do the same thing. It would also be really nice. It would be better than Gwynaifen in this situation, but I don't have him E4, and also it's nice having just another element to pair off of. So if their fire defense broken, then I can have the Gwynaifen there for that instead of having 2 wind characters. So I have a broader range of elements that I can choose from because of the Gwynaifen pick. Now, if you just want to go straight raw damage input and increase in that, then go E4 Sampo. Do that. But when I say that this isn't super in-game, but it is fun, what I mean by super in-game is that if we go over to Golden Gears, one of the hardest content, some of the hardest content in the game, we go over to start exploring. I beat tier 4 using this comp. I barely tried tier 5. I tried tier 5 once, but first off, I beat tier 4 and my comp was legitimately just this. And before when I did beat tier 4, I didn't have a link rope leveled. I had level 0 because I didn't have any attack percent link ropes. Gwynaifen also the entire time is this build. I haven't changed anything. She's just like this. Her Eidolons, I have E1. That's not super like crazy or anything, but it does add another debuff. And Dr. Ratio, you know, no Eidolons, normal light cone. He is my best built character right now. But he's not like enhancing the dot comp at all. He's just doing his own thing. And what makes this, what you might be saying is, hey, Cammy, that's a lot of skill point usage you got going on there. And you'd be right if I didn't just head over to the blessings real quick, go over this, and let me see which one it is. Immediately the one that I chose. After a character launches a follow-up attack, there's a 65% fixed chance to recover 1 skill point. And then if you level it, it goes to 100%, which I never leveled it, and I didn't even feel like I was like a difference. This is paramount to this build. You can go without it, but you're going to feel the strain of not having an extra skill point to use. You're going to actually feel like, oh, I'm running out of skill points quite often. This build sucks. But then at that point, if you don't have that, then you would just have to use Gwenifin. She already has this to where her basic attack can add a bleed effect or a burn effect. So you just have to use her and your Hua Hua if you have them, or just a healer as basic attack spam. You just have to use a healer for that. So yeah, that is the build. Just I prioritize. I'm going all over the place. One sec. Whenever you're choosing blessings, I always go Path of Nihility. Can't talk. I go Path of Nihility. So you just go fill out your Path of Nihility. If you can grab this one, the 21st military rule, do that immediately. That's going to make it really strong. Now, what makes this build also super nice and easy whenever you're playing harder content is because whenever you're leveling stuff, yeah, you want Nihility, but if you get an elation, that's good too. So it makes it easier for you to jump between these two, like, oh, you can't find elation, but you can find, you can't find Nihility, but you can find an elation just somewhere. So you can just grab that one real quick. So it lets you have more room to pick up relics and not just be anchored down to only going for Nihility or just going for some random thing that you don't have playing off of. Like just go like hunt because that's the only thing you have a choice in. It just gives you an easier way or a higher chance of getting an item that you really want that will enhance your build. Another thing that plays into this, some of y'all might know this, if we go over to Nihility, we can see that Nihility, when you're going the golden gears, has a resonance type for elation to where you deal increased damage for, let me just read it. For each unique type of non-dot damage the enemy target has taken, Path Resonance deals 6% more damage to it, lasting until the end of the turn. Now it's not, now from my experience, this damage doesn't go up crazy since we're only using one follow-up damage character, but it is a nice thing that we can have this Path Resonance to go into when we're going Nihility path. And I've hit some crazy numbers. I'm going to show it on screen. And what I'm showing on screen is just, it's not the golden gear, so I didn't have as many relics. What I went was, I went World 5 because I was farming for this item. And I went and I used this team comp and I just destroyed her. She got like 2 turns off. I demolished her. And that was just going easy, just, you know, just vibing. Now, please give this team comp a try. It is fun. It is really nice to use. And especially because of that extra skill point that you get whenever you use a follow-up, just imagine you have Dr. Ratio uses his skill, immediately follows up, you get your skill point back. All right. That's the first one. Use your ult. Another character uses their ult, you get a skill point. Use another ult on top of the other ult, get another skill point because Dr. Ratio does a follow-up, 2 follow-ups after he uses his ult. So that's 2 free skill points for you to spam. It feels like this comp was made for him. It's not going to be, you know, the best dot comp in the game or the best comp in the game. But if you're doing any mid to high, like not top tier content, but the step right below that, it's fun. It's easy. And I mean, it's something nice to try. So thank Cammy here from the future because I completely forgot about something. I forgot to tell you all about another blessing that's actually very, very good for this comp. Now, this isn't a 5-star blessing. I mean, obviously the 5-star blessings are going to be OP and very good, but this is another blue blessing. Now, let me just read to you what this blessing does. When a character launches a follow-up attack on enemies, the enemy's action is delayed by 12%. This is extremely strong for this one reason. That one reason being that Dr. Ratio, as we were going over prior, likes to launch a lot of his follow-up attacks after ulting. So if we can get a Dr. Ratio in there, pops his ult, then we got imaginary damage shred, then we got him throwing dozens upon dozens of his freaking chalks at them, slowing them down and giving us skill points to spam his ability more so that he can do it more times in the future, which gives him ult charge, which lets him ult a bunch of more times, which, you know, it just keeps playing into itself more and more and more. Now, another good thing about this is that if we can delay the enemy's attack more and more, that means that we can get more debuffs on the enemy, we can get more bleed stacks on the enemy, and that means also we can get, let me just go there real quick, we can get Black Swan, we can get her stacks up for her skill to where we can get it up to the 50% mark here, or the 50 stacks mark here is what I mean. And I've gotten it, no joke, 20 and up very easily doing this. It feels like I'm breaking the game. It feels free. They don't play the game, I play the game. They're just here to watch me play. They're like my friend that I bring over so that I can show them how to play the game, and then I forget that they're there and play for 2 hours. I'm kidding. I don't have friends and they don't come over. But blessing is very good. Go for that one next after getting the skill point one. You will not, you will love me. I will accept your likes and subscriptions now, please. All right, I'll let Cammy close it out. Thank you. Oh wait, I'm closing it out. Bye Johnny again. Mwah, mwah. Bye Johnny.